So picking up where we left off, we are in the middle of determining subnet masks. And we saw here on this slide deck the longhand way to do it, or what I consider to be the hard way to do it, because it's a lot of binary conversion. Let's look at another way to get the same information. And we will do that with another example. What is the broadcast address of the network 192.168.73.128 with the subnet mask of 255.255.255.240? Again, we will need our binary number chart just because we will have to do a little bit of binary math. So step one in this method is convert the subnet mask to binary. And in this case, since the first 3 octets are all 255s, all we're really interested in is the last octet. Now, if the subnet mask broke here in the 3rd or the 2nd octet, then obviously you'd be interested in the last 2 or 3 octets. But for our example, we only care about this last octet. And you notice it's the same subnet mask. So our binary math for this is exactly the same as on the previous slide. Now let's examine this subnet mask. Now we have 4 bits in our subnet mask here in the portion. That 4th one is in the 16 position in the subnet mask in this binary number chart. So the last bit being in that position, we know the subnets are 16 hosts big, meaning that our subnets will advance or increment on the number 16. So now we simply count the subnets to find the range. Our first subnet is 0 through 15 because the new subnet starts on 16. The next subnet is 16 through 31 because the next subnet starts on 32, so on and so forth until we hit the range for the network we're looking at. In this case, it is the network that has the .128 host in it. .128 happens to be a network address. We know that 128 plus 16 is 144. We take away 1 because we want the last host on this subnet, and it's 143. So the broadcast for that network is 192.168.73.143. Again, this is personally how I solve these problems if I don't have a calculator or have a subnet cheat sheet around, which we'll get to on the next slide. Some people I've shown this to, they just kind of look at me like I have 3 eyes. And they say, how in the world can you do that? How do you know that? It just doesn't make sense. And again, some people's minds work different ways, and you have to find a method that works for you. So long as you get the right answer and you can duplicate getting the right answer, it's all good. So with all that being said, there are several different ways to solve these subnet questions. Again, we've shown you 2. I've seen at least 7 just in the past year alone. You find a method that works for you, you learn it inside and out so that you can do it cold. All you have to do is write down that binary map, if you will, that 128 through 1 that we've used on the previous 2 slides. And if you know your method and you know it inside and out, all you need is that binary chart. Honestly, once you learn the math behind the problem, there's 3 million websites and cheat sheets you can use to help you determine the proper subnet masks and ranges and so on and so forth. There's the 2 that I use most often. I especially like that bottom one there because it's got a little JavaScript application that pretty much figures all the stuff up for you. It even figures up the Cisco wildcard mask, which you'll use when you set up ACLs, which we'll talk about elsewhere in the course, of course. But honestly, if you go out to your favorite search engine and you search for binary subnet mask cheat sheet or binary subnet mask calculator, you'll end up with, again, about 3 million results when I looked at it in one search engine. And that concludes our discussion of determining subnet masks.